The problem everyone calls a problem. You're sitting at your desk at 11:47 p.m. 3 browser tabs open. One on Python tutorials, one on graphic design portfolios, one on a documentary about behavioral economics. You didn't plan this. It just happened. Again. Your friends have one thing, one passion, one lane. They talk about it at dinner. They post about it. They build toward it like a straight highway with no exits. You can't do that. You never could. Because when you close the economics tab, something pulls you back to music theory. When you close music theory, you're suddenly deep in urban architecture. You're not unfocused. You're not broken. But nobody told you that yet. Everyone around you, your parents, your professors, your LinkedIn feed, they're all saying the same thing. Pick one thing, go deep, specialize. And for a while, you believed them. You tried to kill the curiosity. You couldn't. The guilt starts here. You're 19, maybe 22, maybe 27. Age doesn't matter. What matters is the feeling. You're applying for jobs, internships, programs, and every application asks the same question in different fonts. What is your focus area? You stare at the screen. You have 6 focus areas. You pick the one that sounds most employable. You leave the others buried. You land the role. 3 months in, you're good at it. Really good. But something feels hollow. Because the part of you that loves storytelling is sitting in a corner starving. The part of you that understands systems and data is locked in a room with no door. You're performing one skill in a 10-bodied body. That's not a career strategy. That's amputation. And here's what nobody tells you at Career Day. The world isn't actually asking for one-dimensional people anymore. It stopped asking years ago. It just forgot to update the brochure. The first signal. You're at a work meeting. Someone presents a data report. Numbers, charts, clean slides. The room nods, but you see something they don't. You see the story buried inside the data. You see how to communicate it differently, visually, emotionally, in a way that would actually make the client act. You say something. The room pauses. Your manager looks at you slightly differently. After the meeting, someone taps your shoulder. How did you think of that? You shrug. You don't have an answer. But the answer is this. You thought of it because you read 3 books on human psychology last year just for fun. Because you spent your weekends learning motion design. Because you understand narrative structure from writing short films nobody watched. Your useless interests just solved a real problem. This is level 3. This is where the M shape starts drawing itself. Let me show you something. Picture the letter T. That's what the world asked for. One wide top, general knowledge. One deep spike, your specialty. Now picture the letter M. 2 peaks, 2 deep areas of mastery, connected at the base. That's you. That's what you've been building without knowing it. The M-shaped professional isn't a generalist who dabbles. They're not a specialist who's afraid to leave their lane. They're someone who went deep in 2, sometimes 3 domains, and then built a bridge between them that nobody else can cross. A filmmaker who understands machine learning, a therapist who speaks the language of product design, a finance strategist who thinks like a game designer. These people don't compete for jobs. They create roles that didn't exist before they showed up. You've been building this your whole life. You just called it a flaw. The pivot nobody sees coming. You're 25 now, maybe older. You take a risk. You stop hiding one of your interests. You put your design work next to your data analysis. You write about both. Online, publicly. People are confused at first. What are you exactly? You don't answer the question. You keep showing the work.
Then something shifts. A startup reaches out. They don't need a designer. They don't need a data analyst. They need someone who can be both, someone who understands what the data means and can make it beautiful and human. They've been searching for 6 months. They couldn't find anyone because most people cut off one arm to fit the job description. You didn't. The offer comes in. It's not a standard title. It's not a standard salary. It's the kind of role that gets built around a person, around you. This is where the M shape stops being a theory and starts being a strategy.
The compound effect. Here's what's happening beneath the surface. Every skill you build doesn't just sit alone. It talks to every other skill you have. Your understanding of storytelling makes your data presentations more persuasive. Your knowledge of psychology makes your design decisions more intentional. Your interest in philosophy makes your strategy sharper because you ask better questions. Most people build a wall of expertise. You're building a web. And in a web, every node strengthens every other node. The world is rewarding this now, quietly, quickly. AI is eating the specialists, the people who only know one thing deeply. A machine can replicate that for $20 a month. But a machine cannot replicate the intersection. It cannot replicate the moment where your marketing brain shakes hands with your engineering brain and produces something no prompt can generate. That intersection is you. That intersection is rare. And rare things don't beg for opportunities. Rare things get called. The risk you still carry. But let's not pretend this is easy, because it isn't. The M-shaped path comes with a shadow. You will be misunderstood for longer than the specialists. You will be passed over for roles that want pure experience. There will be a period, maybe a long one, where you look at your one-track friends climbing their one ladder and wonder if you made a mistake. The math won't add up yet. Your LinkedIn profile will confuse recruiters. Your parents will ask again which lane you're choosing. You will doubt yourself at 2 a.m. in apartments that don't feel like progress. This is the cost. This is real. The M shape is not a shortcut. It's a longer road to a destination that doesn't exist on anyone else's map. You have to hold the shape even when the world keeps handing you a T and asking you to conform. Most people fold here. They pick the lane. They let the second peak collapse. They become a T-shaped because it was easier to explain at a dinner party. The reckoning. 3 years later, you're in a room where 2 years ago you would have been invisible. You're consulting for a company on the intersection of behavioral science and product growth. You're getting paid for the version of you that everyone once called scattered. The Python skills, the storytelling instinct, the psychology obsession, the late-night design sprints, they're all in the room, all of them billing. A young analyst in the meeting asks you how you got here. You pause. You think about every career counselor who told you to narrow down, every job application that rejected you for being too varied, every moment you almost burned the second peak to fit someone else's framework. I didn't pick a lane. I built a road between two mountains. They write it down. You didn't mean it as a quote, but it was true. The real consequence. Here's what they don't put in career strategy books. The consequence of the M shape isn't money, although the money comes. The consequence isn't status, although that comes too. The real consequence is this. You stop performing. You stop performing curiosity to seem interesting. You stop performing passion to impress an interviewer. You stop performing discipline to fit a productivity aesthetic. Because the work became real. The work became a direct expression of everything you are, not a fraction, not the employable slice, all of it. And that alignment between who you are and what you do, that is something most people spend their entire lives chasing. Most never catch it because they killed their second peak too early, because they listened when the world said, pick one. The twist.
Here's the twist. You were never actually choosing between interests. You were choosing between fear and identity. The person who tells you to specialize isn't wrong about the world. They're just describing a world that's already passing. The industrial economy needed T-shapes, repeatable, replaceable, predictable. The emerging economy needs something different. It needs people who can think in multiple languages simultaneously, people who find patterns across disciplines, people who are genuinely, dangerously curious about more than one thing. That's not a flaw in your design. That's the design. The M-shape isn't a consolation prize for people who couldn't commit. It's a rare architecture, and you've been building it your whole life. In every book you couldn't put down, in every skill you picked up for no reason, in every moment you followed the pull even when it made no logical sense. You don't have too many interests. You have a compound weapon that most people will spend years trying to assemble. The world will figure out what to call you eventually. Until then, keep both peaks. Guard them. Build the bridge between them. That bridge is where the future lives.